pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris,
Here.
Mrs. Thompson, Mr. Gray,
Here.
Mr. Bittner,
Here.
Ms. Wong, here, Mr. Elam,
I didn't think I'd be here again, but I'm here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
I had to make this.
Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of council, December 9th, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
To the most recent version sent out.
The one that corrected the errors, yes.
No further corrections.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Bittner, seconded by Mr. Gray for approval. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris,
Abstain.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Abstain.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. Correspondence, clerk, do we have any correspondence this evening? Does any member of council have correspondence that we should share tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to administrative department head reports. Mayor and Safety Director, Mr. Eva, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Johnson, members of council, the public here this evening. A couple memos from Chief Forsythe. Both of these have to do with the 2025 Santa Blue Helpers Program. Those who participated from the police and fire, Lieutenant Tina Messenger and Brian, Patrolman Ron Lorenz and Sherry, Patrolman Barry Typhus and family, Patrolman Sam Ivsick and Lexi, our communications officer Jan Coughlin and her husband Dan, communications officer Kristen Story and Brooke, and fire director Aaron Husted and family. Again, this is from Chief Forsythe to all of these that participated. On behalf of the entire department, I would like to thank all of you for participating in this year's 11th annual Santa Blue Helpers Program. Your involvement by volunteering your time is what makes this event possible, and this year was another great success. We had a nice group of 19 children who each received a $200 gift card to purchase gifts. They were escorted in cruisers and Vitalone's limo bus to Menor Target to shop. The pizza party, animal show with Jungle Terry and face painter, plus a visit from the big man in red were enjoyed by all. Because of your help, these children were treated to a very special evening that they won't soon forget. Thank you all again for helping to spread the joy of the holiday with some of our less fortunate residents. A very special thanks to Lieutenant Messenger for spearheading this event once again. The community response to this program was overwhelming this year, thanks to the extra time and effort you put into the program, Tina. He also copied me on a memo to Lieutenant Tina Messenger. And, I would like to thank her. She does, beyond being our lieutenant, with 2 children, does a lot for our community as far as the programs. So I'd like to thank Tina too, along with the chief, for what she does for our residents. We have an opening in the Parks and Recreation Board. On the Parks and Recreation Board, the board meets on the second Thursday of the month at 6:30. There's a volunteer form available on our city's website if there are residents that are interested. The fire department report for December 2025, there were 118 calls for service, 35 fire service calls, 83 rescue EMS calls. Of those 83 calls, there were 9 calls for invalid assist. There were no calls requiring Narcan. Department training for December. Topic was protocol update, department monthly shift drills. EMS did alcohol related emergencies. Fire did fire cause determination. During the month, the fire department held its annual Santa rounds. Also worked with AMVETS and the Cedarwood Beach Club to deliver Santa Claus to their respective Christmas parties. The fire department submitted the application for the state's fire marshal's equipment grant. Business inspections included Shore Nutrition and Papa Smokes. They did a sprinkler inspection at Giant Eagle. Also in December, an anniversary, firefighter Halsman celebrated 25 years with the fire department. The fire department's year-end report for 2025. There were a total of 1,396 calls for service. This is an increase of 56 calls from 2024. The breakdown was 369 fire service calls, 1,027 rescue EMS calls. Of those 1,027 calls, there were 97 calls for invalid assist. And then for the year, 2 calls for an overdose requiring Narcan. That concludes my report tonight.
All right, thank you. Administrative Director, Mrs. Valentine, good evening.
Good evening. The gap accounting audit kicked off yesterday. Our goal is to have that portion of the audit completed by mid-April. One of the police department bathroom pipes had broken off from inside the wall. And inside the wall, there was like water damage, mold, and something. Apparently the pipes were so old, there's asbestos on them. So we hired a remediation provider to remove the affected areas, and the service department will be finished with the reconstruction next Tuesday. Total cost is gonna be around $5 grand. From 7563 Fern to Southland, around 6 sinkholes were found. The homeowner on Fern had a sinkhole filled around 6 years ago, but it was a temporary solution. Service has videoed the pipe and there's seepage at the joints. So we are now working with Bob and Stormwater to come up with a long-term solution for the sinkhole. And that is it.
Yeah, thank you. City Engineer, Mr. Parker, good evening.
Good evening. I have nothing to report tonight.
Good. Other questions for the administration tonight? I have questions. Since we're talking about the opening we have on the Parks and Rec Board, what about the CRA Housing Board? I know that council appointed one of the members last year early on, Nina Merzen. I don't believe we've had any other people appointed to that board since then. That board hasn't met in several years. It's required to meet annually for the CRA. Both ordinance and ORC requires this. What are we going to do to become compliant with the ordinance and the ORC?
I will continue to advertise this and see if we can get some volunteers.
Okay. Did you guys provide council with a list of the active CRAs that are currently have tax abatements on them?
If you want to list.
Yeah, we can get a list of that, and also when they were last checked with that board, because I don't even know when that board last met, to be honest. I know it was before your time, so it may have been like 2022 or something, or even before that. So if we could find that out, and just that way we have an idea of when it was last checked and which ones have never been checked.
Okay,
Because I'm sure there's some that have never been checked, because again, this board is not.
right,
That-
it's up to the board to decide whether or not it's checked.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we can, get that information just for clarity, and then we can make sure those get prioritized when we do have a board. Mr. Parker, can you give any kind of update on where we are with LOBA in terms of ODNR? Any update from them?
Our ODNR has accepted the application.
Okay,
They are reviewing it for technical review.
okay,
It still needs an ordinance from this body. But as they recommended, we will not have an ordinance to them until they've approved the technical side of it. And once the technical side of it is approved, then we'll come back, ask for an ordinance. So right now, we expect to get technical comments within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
okay,
Checked with a couple other municipalities that are also going through the same permitting, their short structure permit, and it's the first name lease. And it's right on schedule with what they're going through. And it's just a very slow process.
good. Hey, anybody have any other questions?
Sure.
Could we also get a list of who all's on the CRA board? Currently,
Sure.
I'd appreciate it.
Anybody else? Here you
Is there anything we can do to speed up downstate what they're doing?
It's a technical review. The gentleman in charge of that department, he was a one-man department for a long time. And he's recently hired 4 or 5 people. So you think that would make it faster if he's training them? Seems to be taking a little longer. We actually talked to him because we got a correspondence that back then was talking that it made no sense. That's when the new people, we call it, Jason, what does this mean? It's like, oh, that shouldn't have been sent out that way, and so he corrected it. So they're going through some learning process on their own. So,
Okay, because, you know, the people downstate are just like us. They get pushed a little bit, maybe they'll get it done faster. So if there's something that council to do
I don't think it's gonna help. I mean, they're going through a very tedious technical review.
I mean, we have emergency situations out there. You know, losing the park and then with the safety of our residents, the help, people want to go down to the beach.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's just, I see that as a real thing. And even an emergency type situation. So I don't know if something along those lines would, speed them up a little bit.
We can give Jason a call tomorrow and just let him know that this is becoming urgent and see if that helps him.
Tell the least movement of council is impatient. I've been sitting on this for 40 years.
I will let him know.
And I'm impatient with it. I've seen 3/4 of the park go away. And it's gotta stop. And we need to do it before spring. We need to have something before spring, in my opinion. But, okay, give them a call, tell them.
We'll make sure he knows. I'll make sure we can relay your message.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for urgent. Think that helps.
Okay, last call. Anybody else? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to board committee commission reports. Parks and Recreation.
So Parks and Recs met on December 11 at 6:30. Everybody was present except for Nate. We started off with Jeanette pretty much thanking everybody for their service over the past year. Things going through with the reviews of the park, the events we did hold. And thanks especially Kyle Kozlowski for his service on the Parks and Recs department. He is the one who left. We then went over the holiday yard and decorating contest. We divided up the city amongst the members and we all went out and were responsible for nominating people that we felt were worthy of being nominated for the decorating to be reviewed by the board for the judging. Since then, we have actually done the judging for it. I'm sure you all saw the winners were posted on the Facebook page. Also, we were supposed to have an artist, Janie Wallen, come to present her idea on the beautification of the electrical boxes over there at Loba. It's an idea that the Parks and Recs has. They reached out to her. She's got some ideas she's going to present to us, but she had some family emergency that evening, so it was coming to its head. That was the picture.
Good, thank you. The ordinance committee, that report, because Mrs. Thompson's not here, will come out at the next meeting. Any other board committee or commissions to report tonight that aren't on the list? Hearing none, we will go to open to the public to speak. If you'd like to speak, please come to the lectern, state your name and address for the record. This is your opportunity to speak to council. It is not a back and forth with council. If you'd like to come speak, to be heard.
I think you might have addressed it, but I wasn't sure. I didn't hear very well. My name is Bush Gordon. I live at 7576 Monterey Bay Drive, Unit 3. And I know that they passed a levy a couple of years ago about the park at the end of Slide and Bear 6. And I'm just wondering what is being done. I know that they were talking about civil engineers. They couldn't get somebody for a while. And so I'm just wondering if there's any progress being made before the park completely goes away.
So it's currently being reviewed by ODNR, so Iowa Department of Natural Resources, to approve the technical plan. And then once that gets done, then we can start moving forward. But they have the next step. Is that correct, Mr. Parker? You're going to be out there.
That's what you were talking
Yes.
about? Okay. And would it help if we wrote letters to this gentleman?
I don't, again. Here's a state paragraph.
Okay,
Save that, but.
all right. Okay. All right, thank you.
Of course. Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll close this portion open to the public to speak. We will now move on to legislation before council. Resolution number 2026-R-01, if you please read it by its title.
Resolution number 2026-R-01, a resolution confirming the appointment of Joseph P. Zesman, LPA, Law Office of Hennig Zesman. Am I saying that correctly? What is it?
Do a silent test and then do Zeman.
Zeman, okay. Zeman and Clamor Co. as law director and assistant city prosecutor, affirming the contract, determining compensation, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, you received the contract. We received the resolution. We didn't actually receive any background information, which the charter requires you to provide us. So if you could provide us some background information.
Oh, sure. Okay. Thank you, council. Appreciate the opportunity. The background information was in a cover letter. I'm sorry that that was not forwarded on to you, but it was provided, should be somewhere in the city's record. So yes, my name is Joseph Zeman. I've been practicing law for 30 years in Ohio, in good standing, of course. I have a private office based in Metro, the Matchworks building. And for about 23 years, I've been in service to the city of Mentor. First, about 15 years as an assistant law director / zoning counsel. Past approximately 8 years as the city's law director. I've also served as the law director of the Village of Madison. I've been out with Madison for, I want to say approximately 15 years right now. Not also law director, previously as assistant law director there. Previously held the position of assistant law director of the Village of Colonel Hills, where I prosecuted violations in the Willoughby Municipal Court, special counsel for the Lake County Community College District, better known as Lakeland. I've served as special counsel for the city of Geneva, the city of Portland. And so that's the public sector work that I've done in the past. So fully exposed to Ohio municipal law, of course, enjoy it. I've dedicated my career to it. When the mayor contacted me about the opening, I was pretty intrigued. Obviously, I'm a neighbor, I'm a resident here, a lifetime resident. I won't say how many years, but a lifetime resident of this community. So I was excited, frankly, by the opportunity to be of service here in the Mentor on the Lake. So I appreciate your consideration of this ordinance, and happy to answer any questions that you have while you deliberate the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions? Drew?
Joe, we go back a ways.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you again. Never mind. City of Madras. It's, well, you've been there a long time.
Yes, sir.
My microphone, how do I use the microphone? I'm new here, Joe. I'm new here. Okay, we have, well, City of Mentor has elected council as what they call a soft mayor or a weak mayor form of government, whatever it's called. I don't like that term. And then, but here we have a mayor, elected council. Now, we don't always see eye to eye on things. The mayor or the council. How do you see, or who do you represent as law director? Mayor, council?
My primary ethical obligation is to the city of Mentor on the Lake. Now, secondarily, obviously, provide legal counsel to council, to the mayor, to the administrative agencies, to the employees with respect to their official duties. So transactionally, there may be an issue that is before the council that requires direct legal counsel. Transactionally, there may be an issue that is purely within the mayor's orbit. But my primary ethical obligation is always to the community itself. As law director, I care about the law.
Okay, so what the ordinances and stuff that we have on the books, I revised code. That would be your focus, no matter where the lays out for you side, mayor or council.
I would even go a little higher level than that, sir. I mean, primarily one of the things that I love about municipal law is the Constitution, federal and state. And I love the academic aspects of this profession. I love the fact that when we get out of bed in the morning, what we're concerned with is primarily constitutional obligations to our citizens, to our visitors. And so I always take a very, very global view of everything. So, yes, our obligation is to the law, but it's to all laws and, you know, the highest being the Constitution, of course.
I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
No.
So,
So,
but if you're
no,
not.
I don't see sides. I don't see sides in the law. So that's what I'm saying.
That's fine.
So,
Now, we have another question, if I might, Mr. President. Menor Beach Park. City of Menor wants it. City of Menor, well, did I say Menor or Menor on the Lake? City of Menor on the Lake wants it. And the city of Menor has it. We're getting to the point, I hope, from what I can understand, that we want to approach the city of Menor, or they approach us about putting that in our hands, giving that to us. How, do you see a conflict of interest?
Yeah. Yes, I would not represent either side in that transaction.
Okay.
Menor is a manager council form of government, so primarily your lead negotiator in those types of contracts is going to be city manager, Lipiak, correct? So he and you know the city officials here from here on Menor Lake will try to reach an agreement in principle, of course. If the two sides can reach that PSA, which is sale agreement as we call it for short.
Okay.
Then it's just a question of legislation by the city of Mentor, and of course, here on Mentor on the Lake to approve that transaction as well. It's the type of thing that I would defer if necessary. If Mentor may not determine that they need additional legal counsel relative to negotiation of the PSA.
Okay.
Mentor on the Lake may reach that same determination. If not, it'd be fairly a simple transaction of work to refer that out to an independent party.
Okay, and I'm hoping that that'll work out without a lot of problems. But I just want to make sure that we know that there's a potential conflict of interest here if it gets into some heated discussions or some areas where both sides don't agree on stuff. So, okay, Joe, thank you. And now tell me again, or tell us again, what other municipalities you represent as law director?
Currently I serve as the law director of the Village of Madison.
Okay.
As a mentor, those are my two current public positions.
Okay.
I previously worked for Kirtland Hills, Lakeland College District,
Okay.
special counsel, primarily with utilities, with the city of Geneva, as well as some appropriation cases that we had out there. To work with Cortland as well, on utility work.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Other questions? Yes.
Good evening. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your experience and your qualifications. Your experience with municipal law in particular is quite valuable and can be for us. My question also has to do with the question of potential conflicts of interest. I know it is common for law directors to serve more than one municipality at the same time. That's not an uncommon thing. And that occasionally it's conceivable there could come up either contracts or negotiations between cities that, as you stated, might represent a conflict of interest. The concern I have, the question I have to ask you about our particular situation is that the relationship we have with Menor, of course, is, you know, not just that we share a lot of our city border, but we also enter into other agreements and contracts with them regarding salt, roads, anything that impacts the area and impacts both cities has the potential to generate the need for a governmental response from both sides, or anything that might include legislation or legal representation. I just wanted to ask, is that a concern that you share? How might you manage that or handle that if it came to that?
Yes, we do have a few points of, I'm not gonna call them conflicts necessarily, because it doesn't seem like there's a disagreement. For instance, I know that Menor Lake participates in our annual road program in the city of Menor. I don't deal with it. It's pretty much a pro forma agreement, I think, that you have at this point. The actual legislation to approve the contract is drafted by our local council and mentor. You know, if there could be some potential, and you're contracting obviously directly, you know, with the firm undertaking those public improvement projects. Mutual aid agreements are in place, and that's pretty common, of course. Aside from those 2 points, where I think Benner Lake has cooperated, or in two communities have cooperated relative to some economies of scale in their purchasing, which is very of course, it's completely voluntary on your part. The deal is whatever good. If you don't like the quotes, you obviously would not participate, in mentor contracts. But I don't negotiate into those contracts. Those are competitively bid, as you know. And the legislation is fairly straightforward for council to approve or disapprove that as they choose. Likewise on this here in Metro Lake as well. So those are the conflicts of interest that we knew that there was some transactional workings between the two communities. And obviously, as you know, mutual aid is really something that's not going to cause a conflict of interest in my 30 years of experience. That's not what mutual aid is all about. So aside from those agreements, we did not identify any others that would be of any concern.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, is there anything on this tonight?
I guess I have one other, it's not really a concern so much as it's just to note. The terms of the contract, specifically the length of the appointment, the specifics in terms of when the agreement terminates. And this has absolutely nothing, this is absolutely no reflection on what I feel your qualifications would be or how well I feel you would do with the job. We've had a bit of turnover in this position and a bit of discomfort with the work and the relationship we've had with our last law director. I just wonder about us discussing a potentially shorter term of agreement to begin with. I mean, hoping things will work out very well, we would be happy to extend for a longer period of time if that were appropriate, but I just, I think about going into a 2-year or a longer year agreement without having had any experience working together. It's something that does concern me considering our immediate past experience.
Is there any issue from the administration or from Mr. Zeman for like a 1-year contract rather than a 3-year contract?
I don't think it's a 3-year contract. I believe would cover 26 and 27. I believe with Joe's knowledge and experience, it's not unreasonable to ask for a 2-year contract.
I'm an at-will employee. As an attorney, I can be terminated for any reason, no reason, even a bad reason for that matter. So if things don't work out, first order of business is to figure out why. Why am I not delivering services in a way that's suitable to the city's officials and department heads and everybody else here? So if we can figure it out, we're going to figure that out. If not, I'll recognize sooner than anybody that the relationship may not work. Every community has its ebbs and flows, certainly. We all have our ebbs and flows in our personal lives as well, in our professional lives. So I think communication is the top of the order. That's my number one goal out the gate would be to figure out exactly how do these officials, how best do you deliver services to them consistent with what their needs are. Clients are all over the map. Sometimes they want infinite details. Sometimes they're like, just get it done. I don't want to know how the sausage is made. And that's their decision. Now, obviously, you have to provide necessary legal counsel and make sure that they're making educated decisions. But my role is to make sure that I'm providing proper services, and that starts and ends with communication. If it doesn't work, I may be the first one to recognize that. The term is really for kind of my financial planning. I'm trying to onboard, a new associate at the office, and I would, cost my like nothing. One of the reasons to have sort of a fixed revenue source is that it enables you to hopefully attract some new talent, and bring up that, I won't say new generation, but that next group of attorneys who can hopefully take my place the way I was trained by some real great attorneys back in the day. So that's really my goal. And so that was kind of what informed me as to the length of the term being consistent with your charter and ending with your current mayoral term.
Mr. President. As I said, Joe and I go back a ways, the court, the county courthouse, courts and so forth. I don't know that we ever had any interaction as an attorney and bailiff or whatever, but, Joe's a known quantity. And his answers to the questions that I had, right on point. I knew the answer before I asked you, Joe. I knew the correct answer before I asked, and you know, and you were right there. So I personally would have no issue with the 2-year contract because he is a known quantity in Lake County and a very respected known quantity. And if we decide after 6 months, we don't want you around, we tell you you're gone, right?
I don't want to try to force service on individuals who don't desire them. That is for sure.
But that would be my position. He is a known quantity, at least to me, I think, around the county. And but our action has more to do with my opinion. Council's actions, 1 year, 2 years, have more to do with the experiences that we've had, that you've had. I'm with a lot there than it is with this qualifications.
Right.
And I think I think the 2-year contract, if we go with this, it must be very appropriate. That's my opinion.
Okay, I do want to state that the contract states termination of the employee by the mayor, his resignation, or after 1 year after the mayor's current term of office ends. That's 3 years, sir. Not 2, as I said.
Clarification.
Well, that means that at the beginning of 2028, if there is a new mayor, that contract is void.
It's 1 year
It says
after
for
the
1 year
mayor's term ends.
Okay, but if you read where it says termination of his employment by the mayor,
Yes.
okay,
So if there's a new mayor, then yes, it would.
right, so the new mayor comes in 28. They can say, Mr. Zeman, I found somebody else to do the job.
But my point is that council doesn't have a say beyond that. Council only has a say now. And then 3 years from now. Which we determined with our last law director that 1 year was more than enough of her, less than a year. And we determined that she wasn't the appropriate person for us. And so that's where the concern comes from. Now it's 3 years and. So that's my concern. Anybody else? Anything on this tonight?
I will make a motion to suspend. Would like to get this onboarded with him.
Yeah.
Kind of get his input on how we want to start working ordinances and. Let's put him on board.
Motion made by Mr. Bittner to suspend the rules. Anyone else? There's no second to the motion, so the motion to suspend the rules fails. So we'll go on to second reading.
Could I ask a question, Mr. President?
Sure.
It's more a question of my fellow councilman. When Ms. Schulte became our law director, it became clear that the contract that was signed or agreed upon by her originally had her answering primarily to the administration and not to council. Not seeing this current contract yet, I'd like to know, are you folks satisfied with Mr. Seisman's contract being more in line with what we're used to and what ended up at the end? That he is equally responsible to both sides. You folks had the chance to read the contract. I have not.
Yeah, I believe it is, but that's another reason for not supporting suspension of the rules is I know that at least 2 of you have not seen the contract, and I think that that's an important thing for you to go over before we decide to vote on it.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then we will move on to resolution number 2026-R-02, if you could please read it by its title.
Resolution number 2026-R-02, a resolution ratifying the purchase of tasers and accessories from Axon Enterprise Inc. for the police department in an amount of $30,592.20 and declaring an emergency.
Would the administration like to speak to this?
So in 23, okay. In 2023, there was. Obviously, before I was here, the police chief agreed to buy tasers. But then the tasers came and they were used, so they don't have them now, and then apparently. He, like later on that year when they came, we signed the, like, you know, they're here, I agreed to this lease agreement. There was no PO, no nothing, and then I guess the invoice was going to one of the officers for over a year, almost 2 years, like a year and a half. So we weren't paying our bill, so I didn't even find out about it until I was getting, you know, one of those notices that you're not paying your bill. So, we talked about it and we, about the policies and about how, you know, police chiefs and stuff, you know, they can't sign any contracts, they have to do things in the proper order. I'm gonna actually put it in writing too, just to remind everybody in the office, but, in order to satisfy auditor needs, it would be nice if we could all just ratify the contract. We can't return the favor. I mean, there's nothing there.
So we actually own it. I was kind of confused by the wording because it said lease versus, oh, do we?
In government, like, most this lease means like we own it.
Okay,
It's just, it's a type of.
it's just paying over time or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, that's why I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify. So we do own them. It's not just,
yeah,
we have to return them at the end or whatever for a period. Okay, that's what I thought, but I just want to clarify.
May I ask? The money for this, was it appropriated at the time? I don't recall, or,
to be honest, I don't know. He signed the agreement in 23. And, so last year, because I didn't know about it, I didn't appropriate for it. I can, you know. I mean, I didn't know that that was coming, so I couldn't appropriate for it.
has any money
But I
been
don't know in
spent?
23 if it was brought up or not.
Has any money been paid out?
Yes, I paid right before the end of the year because I didn't want us to get, you know.
Out
or
of which,
spoofed or not
out of
paid.
which bucket, I guess?
Police.
Yes, if I may, when did this come to light?
Just recently,
How recently? I mean, a
like
month ago?
November,
Pardon?
like this November, December, like I just found out about it.
Okay.
I mean,
I find it curious now that this is the second time one of our department heads signed a contract without council approval. The first being the fire truck. Now this, and this was done long before the fire truck was in. Shame.
No, we bought that though without council approval too, so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else on this? Questions? Nathan?
I do have a question, I'm not sure, I'm gonna ask it now or later. Not, I'll do it later. Not now.
Yeah. Anything else on this?
And this is already stuff that we bought and spent. I mean, I'm gonna make a motion to suspend because it's so done.
Motion to suspend the rules made by Mr. Bittner. Is there a second to the motion?
I'm gonna second that motion, Mr. President. I'm not happy about it. But, we need to get it cleaned up.
Okay, motion has been made by Mr. Bittner, seconded by Mr. Elam. Roll call the suspension, please.
Mr. Morris,
No.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
I,
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
No. The motion to suspend the rules fails. So we'll go on to second reading. Resolution number 2026-R-03, if you could please read it by its title.
Resolution number 2026-R-03, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Ron Donald Denal to the Civil Service Commission.
Okay, anything on this tonight?
I'm gonna motion to suspend.
Motion made by Mr. Bittner to suspend the rules. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Elam. Roll call on suspension, please.
Mr. Morris,
No.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. Motion to suspend is passed. 5-1.
Motion for passage.
Motion for passage by Ms. Wong, second by Mr. Bittner. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam, Mr. Johnson.
Aye. Ordinance number 2026-0-01, if you could please read it by its title.
Ordinance number 2026-0-01, an ordinance amending section 250.08 to the codified ordinances of the city of Mentor-on-the-Lake, Ohio, entitled Holidays, for the purpose of clarifying the holiday schedules for full-time, non-union employees of the police, fire, and communications departments.
So for clarity, this was 2025-0-28, but because council changed over, that one died and this one has come back on now as a new number.
So it remains, so it's on its first reading again? Or,
Technically, because we have two new members in council, yeah, put it back on for a first reading.
We have an explanation of what this is and what it varies from the current situation.
Would the administrative director like to speak as to what the holiday change here is? If he does, isn't here, she was the one who was.
The only change to the holiday is basically the last paragraph F, which is just clarifying that the floating holidays without any scheduled holidays is all for bargaining, like. So the bargaining contract always supersedes the ordinance, so it's just stating that out loud, that it's for the bargaining contract.
So nothing's really changed. Just the language.
Nothing really, just the language.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything on this tonight?
I will make a motion to suspend as the three previous members have worked on this tirelessly. Just want to get it.
Mr. Bittner made a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second to the motion? Hearing none, the motion fails. Okay, now we move on to old business. Is there any old business tonight? Anyone? None. We have new business. We have the council rules. Everyone should have a copy of it in their email. Those who haven't yet been able to access their email, Mr. Elam, Mr. Morris.
We're old school. Give it in paper.
We'll have time to review those before we vote on them. Did anybody have any rule suggestions that they wanted to make, change in the rules?
I do.
I'm shocked.
I know. I wanted to add, this is perfect, you guys haven't actually reviewed them yet, so concerning section 10 and section 11, regarding. Submission of agenda items, for, yes, for inclusion onto the agenda and the agenda meetings. As we took away actual formal in-person agenda meetings last year, because we weren't really using them, our law director couldn't make them, I mean, it seemed appropriate. I just felt like we needed better for clarification and separation of the difference between the agenda submission deadline, which is the date and time by which items need to be submitted in order to be considered for inclusion onto the agenda, and then the actual approval of the agenda, which is the activity that was typically undertaken at the time of the agenda meeting, and I believe is still done at that 5-day prior to the meeting timeline. I have a redlined copy of the changes I suggest. I can send it to everybody so that you have it. You can pair them side by side, but briefly, it just, in section 10, takes out references to the agenda meeting, which doesn't really exist anymore, and instead replaces them with prior to the agenda submission deadline. It also adds a section defining what the agenda submission deadline would be, because that may not be the same from year to year. Right now, it's sort of dependent on our clerk's availability and schedule, as well as some other considerations. It could be established and announced by the president during the first regular council meeting of the year, and it can be changed. However, that change would need to be announced at a regular council meeting prior to taking effect, which makes sense. So it doesn't lock us in. We're not specifying an exact dating time for that agenda submission deadline. but I think it will make it clearer, as to when a submission for the agenda is late. And is not required to be considered by council versus when we actually need to trigger, an amendment of the agenda at the time of the meeting. The only change to 11 would be, of course, there's a reference to, when legislation needs to be submitted. Again, I would add the agenda submission deadline to that section as well. So I can send those changes out for everyone to consider.
Appreciate that. Anybody else? Okay, the only other new business I had was I did give everyone now a copy of the 2026 council committee assignments. Are there any questions or concerns over your assignments? I'll quickly go over what I have, why I picked who I picked for these roles. For Finance Audit Committee, the chair is Troy Elam, and the reason I chose him is his extensive background on council previously. Many years of council, so many. Safety Committee, I also made Troy Elam the chair. His law enforcement background, I thought was a good fit for the Safety Committee. Service Committee is Desiree. The Ordinance Committee, Jeannie, because nobody is more detail oriented than she is. More detail oriented than the entire rest of this entire room combined. And ordinances need that. So I appreciate her being in charge of that. Zoning Committee, Desiree, especially because of her background on the comprehensive plan and any changes that might come from that. I thought she would make a good chair of that. Fire Dependency Board just has Desiree, and I replaced Mr. Lunder with Jeannie. Community Development Committee, Mr. Gray. I'll look for good things from that. Planning and Zoning Commission, Desiree as the chair of the Zoning Committee. Board of Zoning Appeals, Ms. Wong. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Bittner again, and that's because two things. One, you did an outstanding job on Parks and Recreation last year. You also are the only member of that board that actually has young children, school-age children, so you give a different perspective than the rest of the board has. So I think that's a valuable asset to the city for that. Utilities Committee, Mr. Gray. And then we have the Stormwater Program Management Program, which is Ms. Wong and Mrs. Thompson. So does anybody have any questions or concerns over their assignments? If there are no concerns, is there a motion to approve the assignments?
Motion made to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Morris. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Wong. Roll call, please, on the committee assignments.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Abstain.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. All right, so those are the new committee assignments. That way the boards and commissions can also get started at their appropriate times. Is there any other new business tonight? Anything from anybody? Okay. We'll now move on to open to public speak. If you'd like to speak, please come to the lectern, state your name and address for the record. Last opportunity. Hearing none, we'll close this portion open to the public speak. We'll now move on to announcements and settings of meetings. Next regular meeting of council will be held Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Now that we have committees, I'm saying we want to schedule a meeting.
The Desiree is not here.
Oh, yeah, I think she did that on purpose. Yeah, I'm hearing that as a no. Anybody want to make any motions or anything after that?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Morris. Second by Mr. Gray for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bittner,
Aye.
Ms. Wong,
Aye.
Mr. Elam,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye, we are adjourned.
I will go in tomorrow and get my iPad.
Good.
Try to get up to speed.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President.
Well,
That'd be great.
Jim Hundreds was. Well, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I need some.
You don't need.
Not big, Jeff.
Work. On an iPad. So.
Oh,
You know,